This exercise is the ball roll out. So with a large exercise ball, you're going to be kneeling in front of it. Hands are on the ball. And what's most important on this exercise is to really focus on having that plank position in your body, meaning keeping your hips and shoulders stacked over each other, glutes are engaged, core is engaged, in order to be able to do the rollout correctly. So what I most commonly see is the body tries to compensate and make the exercise easier, and when people do this, their shoulders go first, their hips go back, and then they do a rollout, but it's not nearly as challenging or effective as it needs to be. So I would rather have a very short range of motion on the rollout, but proper form with those hips really squeezing underneath you, than to have a greater range of motion, but not nearly as effective or as good of technique. So on this one, you also will probably need to readjust your hand position periodically. So as you do a few of these, you'll notice that your hands might move on that ball a little bit. So just keep readjusting them to the spot that feels like the appropriate spot. Okay, you're just really, really locking down that core contraction, including the glutes, and maintaining that the entire time that you're doing that rolling in and rolling out. Okay, you don't ever want to feel like you're collapsing or arching in your low back. You don't want to feel any strain there. So really having to intensely engage to do that exercise appropriately. So again, we don't want to start like this. We don't want to have the shoulders go first and then leaning over the ball. That looks close, right? But if you keep those shoulders stacked over the hips, squeeze your hips under you, you want to think of your hips are following the ball. Like there is the positive and negative with the magnets, and your hips are following that ball and not pushing back at all. So the shoulders don't go first, it's the hips. So keeping them stacked, okay? It's a tough one. Well, I just have the ball at another great variation just for core, is you can do plank on the ball. Okay, and again on this one, lifting away from the ball, not sagging down. My boot campers, you still love to get away with that. Okay, so lifting up, again, squeezing the glutes, maintaining that good posture, holding. The further away from you the ball is, or if you move it around, the harder it gets. Okay, so holding that plank.